Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, the franchises that gave developer Naughty Dog its undeniable reputation as one of the greats, a studio that truly got it. They understood how to craft a game that people wanted to play, not just because it's heavily polished or visually appealing. I mean, those things do matter, but the main draw of Naughty Dog games was that they were fun. However, when it came to making the Last of Us games, there was a clear shift in the design philosophy at Naughty Dog, with the game's co-director and current studio head Neil Druckmann even going on record saying that we don't use the word fun, we say engaging, and it might seem like a minor distinction, but it's an important one for us. Now, I used to strongly disagree with this sentiment. It actually used to really upset me when people would make it seem like describing the experience of playing The Last of Us as fun was some sort of crime against humanity. You see, my surface level thought was that if a game is fun, then it's engaging. If you're engaged while playing a game, then you must be having fun, right? It used to be that if you asked me what determines how good a video game is, I would have told you that its fun factor is key. But that's not really true at all. I like to think of it in the same way that I think about cinema. I can have a lot of fun watching a trashy action movie like Fast and Furious, but I am infinitely more engaged when I watch a Christopher Nolan film such as Oppenheimer. When it comes to video games, yes, fun and engagement tend to intersect more often than not, but that line was always subconsciously blurred for me. I love The Last of Us. I consider it my favorite game of all time, but I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy the Uncharted games more. Unlike The Last of Us, Uncharted isn't dark and gritty and violent. Well, I mean, it is violent, but you get the idea. Uncharted was born out of Naughty Dog experimenting with a new style and presentation of game that still retained the platforming aspects of Crash Bandicoot, as well as the puzzles and gun-focused combat of Jak 2 and 3. Whereas Naughty Dog had a very specific vision when crafting the story and world of The Last of Us. It isn't silly like Crash Bandicoot, it isn't lighthearted like Jak and Daxter, and it isn't fast-paced like Uncharted. Unlike with Uncharted, this truly was a complete deviation for the studio. And while Naughty Dog found great success in The Last of Us, it seems to have become their whole identity as of late, leading many fans to crave literally anything from Naughty Dog that isn't Last of Us related. But with the Crash IP in Activision's hands, Jak being dormant since the PS2, Uncharted seemingly being laid to rest, and their faction's multiplayer successor being cancelled, many were left wondering, what's next for Naughty Dog? The reveal of Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet was met with some pretty severe backlash, with many calling it a Guardians of the Galaxy lookalike with no soul, and an insufferable main character who doesn't even look like an actual woman, despite her character being voiced by and modeled after an actual woman. Typical anti-woke gamer nonsense if you ask me, but that's neither here nor there. But this announcement actually got me pretty excited. I like space, I like sci-fi, I like Naughty Dog. Fuck it. I like Neil Druckmann's games, but above all else, the game genuinely looks fun. I'm aware that might sound crazy considering the one trailer we have doesn't even feature any raw gameplay, but the vibe and the atmosphere didn't make me depressed, so I guess that counts for something. But in all seriousness, seeing something like this from Naughty Dog is refreshing to say the least, not just because it's not another re-release of a Last of Us game, but because for the first time in over a decade, they're going to be delivering something fresh. And as we know by their track record, that usually comes with some sort of gameplay evolution of what came before it. So what's it going to be this time? Despite the sci-fi setting, Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet seems like it's going to tell a story that tackles very real themes, including faith, religion, and loneliness. With the game allegedly featuring next to no NPC allies, which became a staple of Naughty Dog games with Uncharted and The Last of Us especially, NPC interactions and gameplay are an excellent way to provide exposition and character development without relying solely on cutscenes to do the job, and they often allow for moments of levity where it may be much needed. Naughty Dog have proven that they have this down to a science, but what does a modern Naughty Dog game look like without these interactions, and how will Intergalactic's gameplay reflect this change? Well, Druckmann himself has cited anime such as Cowboy Bebop and Akira as primary inspirations, as well as the highly acclaimed Soulsborne Elden Ring, which really fascinates me. It's hard to say if the anime inspiration will be felt in gameplay as much as the vibe and tone of the game, but it's quite clear what aspects of Elden Ring Intergalactic might have siphoned from. In a 2023 interview with Washington Post reporter Gene Park, Neil Druckmann said this:
I think there's some of the best storytelling in The Last of Us. Yes, a lot of it is in the cinematics, but a lot of it is in gameplay and moving around the space and understanding the history of a space by just looking at it and examining it. And to me, that's right now is some of the best joy I get out of games that trust their audience to figure things out.
This quote really excites me because I've always felt that Naughty Dog games have strong environmental storytelling, this being best exemplified in, again, The Last of Us and Uncharted. As we know from the few story details that have been put out, our main character named Jordan Munn winds up stranded on Semperia, a planet whose communication with the outside universe ceased hundreds of years ago. Based off of this information, I can only infer that the story will take us to various parts of Semperia where we'll be able to explore open areas akin to the Western Ghats in The Lost Legacy or downtown Seattle in The Last of Us Part 2. While Intergalactic will seemingly have a traditional storytelling structure, the amount of hidden lore waiting to be uncovered through careful exploration is surely going to surpass any previous world that Naughty Dog has created, and that really excites me. The reality is we still know very little about Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. More details could drop and we find out that the game is going to be even more grim than The Last of Us, completely throwing my whole thesis out the window. But my hope is that, unlike The Last of Us, Intergalactic isn't trying to ground you in a post-apocalyptic fight for survival through its combat and exploration, but rather to free players from these shackles and curate an experience that encourages them to discover a world that's completely unfamiliar to them in whatever way they see fit. And that sounds pretty damn fun to me.